Hi there, teacher candidates. I'm Heather Swale. I teach at Vincent Massey Public School in grades 7 and 8. I have the opportunity to teach French immersion, gifted French immersion, and I'm the homeroom and primary subject teacher for a challenging but interesting grade 7 English core program. The strategy that I'm going to talk to you about today can apply and be used to all of those groups in lots of different subjects, but let's focus on language arts and social studies, primarily history. Strategy is called, I call it, Say It All in 6. It's also called 6-word story. It's a pretty common strategy, but I find it really works for all different levels of cognition and understanding. It seems to come from something that's attributed to Hemingway, but I think that's an urban legend, a 6-word advertisement. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. Even 12-year-olds can absorb the impact of those words and start to make inferences about what that might mean. What I do is that I'll start the kids off with an image. It doesn't have to be an historical image, although if you are teaching, for example, about residential schools, there are very powerful images out there that you could start with. Even have a walking gallery so the kids can go through. Let's look at one image here. Here's something kind of fun. The New Yorker magazine always has really good images. Here we have possibly Dracula, a customer at a restaurant, eating a suspiciously red soup. You need not say anything as a teacher. You just ask the kids to take a look at it and then sit down and write 6 words. In the gifted class, they might make that an item on a menu. In a French immersion class, it might be an ad. In an English class, there might be more descriptive, or an ELL class, there might be just more descriptive words. Red, bowl, fangs. But when it's all put together, it's like a mini poem, and it can be really, really effective. Or you take a photo from real life. I collect photos all the time. The New York Times and the Globe and Mail often have really good photos, but you're all good about that kind of stuff. This happens to be actually a cockfight in Cuba. The kids don't know that, but they can tell a lot from the faces of the crowd and the spectators. So there's one way to use Say It All in 6. Give the kids an image and then get them to describe it. When you get into using it more actively in terms of subject matter, you can use this in poetry. Children often think it's much easier to write briefly than it is to write long, but we all know that boiling our ideas, our sentiments, our impressions into a very short piece is one of the most difficult things we can do. And so when I teach poetry, I equate poetry to maple syrup, that you take a huge vat of sap, of impressions, of nature, of emotions, of observations, and you boil it all down into a golden syrup. That's what the 6 words Say It All in 6 can do. For history, again, you can use, or our story as I call it, you can use an image, or you can do a short reading and then say to the kids, now would you go back and sit down or stand up and just pull out of your head, or maybe out of the reading as well, especially for kids who are just learning English, 6 words that you think sum up what you have learned or how you've reacted to what you've learned. That in a nutshell, and that's what the strategy is Say It All in 6. And it can really help you. It's a great exit card. It's a great introduction to something. And it's a way to help kids explain what they are intimidated to understand. Thanks.